we already had a pharmacovigilance center. We tried to ramp it up. We asked the PVPI to give us resource, which they gave. They gave us manpower, they gave us a telephone connection, they gave us internet, everything they gave. And then we had 2-3 seminars, virtual seminars, wherein all the teaching hospitals were incorporated. We exhorted people, we told them that please report. And I used to tell them that you don't have to fill the form, I'll do it for you. Just send me a WhatsApp message. This is the name of the patient, this is the drug, this is what has happened. Manpower which has been provided by PVPI will reach out to you. Nothing happened. From one of the command hospitals, I'll not name them, principal matron started sending nil reports. And they still come, sir. So somehow they made this pharmacovigilance ka jo hai, that causality assessment form became a part of mundane report returns. Like they still ask a field hospital, how many rounds I have fired? I don't fire rounds, I give injections. So as I give nil reports, we still get them. That is where pharmacovigilance program is. Now, so of course, then I went to field and Karan Shimla tried to, and other colleagues tried to push the program to the extent possible. Fortunately or unfortunately, we still are reporting almost about 35-40, which at a national level is still fine. But it is fine for a 500-bedded hospital to report 30 ADRs in a month. AFMS, it's a colossus. How many teaching beds we have in hospitals? We are there for people to tell us, nobody telling us. We crib all the time that we have L1 system of procurement, drugs don't work. If drugs don't work, please tell us. Lack of intended therapeutic effect is also adverse effect. Why don't you report it? Please report it. We'll take it up with PVPI and we'll assure you that if we have even 10 reports, that drug will be suspended from use. Nothing is happening. Now, as in today, as a head of the department, you can understand my anguish. Every time I sit here in, let's say, that meetings which we have where we'll mull over why the patient died and what happened. Every time there's a drug somewhere getting implicated. Now, as in like dermatology, I mean, I'll not talk about the negative, I'll talk about the positives. HOD dermatology, very proactive. We are generating a lot of reports together. What is happening? I get a report, I send my residents, they go to the bedside, collect data. But what I'm trying to tell you all people is, please awake to this problem. If you feel that L1 system wala drug, it doesn't work, don't blame the bureaucracy. GFR will stay like that. We cannot change it. Let's do what we can. Report it to us. So we'll again bring out a separate communication, which will be flashed to all the hospitals. Now, since I'm heading the department, I'm able to push this agenda a little more. That's why I wanted General Chatterjee to come and chair this session. He is no person better in AFMS than him to influence policies insofar as drugs and devices is concerned. So that's about pharmacovigilance program, sir. And we'll have little road ahead under your guidance, and we'll see how we can optimize this. But this is an area which we should work. That's also I wanted, top regulatory representative to be with us, Dr. Kalai Swilum. He's a friend from some time. I can claim that, I hope. He was graceful enough, gracious enough to come. He has got his institutional funding, take out his time to be with us. And I'll request that if we upscale our pharmacovigilance activities, please provide us with more manpower. I'm sure that will come around. Now coming to metavigilance. So, can I have a show of hands? Any medical officer, specialist? Just stand up, please. Anyone? Any medical officer, bhai? Yeah, please. So, madam, tell me, you've got a thermometer. You feel it doesn't work. What do you do with it? Where do you report it? In the unit itself. That means you tell ki bhai ye kaam nahi kar raha, and it gets condemned in the next cycle, and you get a new one. But somebody has supplied the thermometer, which was not worth its money. Nothing is happening to him, right? Sit down. Can I have another show of hand, please? Any armed forces doctor? Yes. You use BP apparatus? Okay, fine. When I say you, I don't mean you personally. I mean we all as fraternity, including my own self. You're just being, scapegoats of exemplification. So, how many times do you calibrate your BP apparatus?
So it depends upon its manual or it's an IBP.
Okay, fine. So I'll take a step back. How many times do you read the manual? That means not you. I mean all of us.
Sure.
Never.
Never.
I have never calibrated.
Yes.
Never. Why? Sit. And all our clinical practice is driven by these devices. It's like crossing a road guided by a blind man. This is what we are doing, ladies and gentlemen. Right? So I thought that I will speak without any this thing because I wanted to speak my heart out. Every day we treat patients, we end up doing substantial harm to them, either by way of giving them drugs which should not be given, which are substandard, and we don't do anything about it, or by using those devices which aren't working in the same first place, and we don't even know that they're not working. Even if we know that they're not working, we just throw them. It's a massive lost exchequer. I'm not privy to the data as to how much money is being, spent on procuring devices. It's colossus. We are probably one of the largest procurers of devices in India. And we don't even know how to use them. We, of course, know how to use them, but we don't know when they're not working, or how to calibrate them, or how to report. Somebody gives me 5,000 rupees worth of, sphygmomanometer. It doesn't work. I dump it. Fair enough, convenient. But somebody has walked away with 1,000 rupees worth of government money. I would say this is conniving by ignorance. So I'll rest my case on this. Under sir's guidance, we'll have a way forward in this, which we'll communicate. Point of which I want to make it, we need to strengthen the pharmacovigilance program. I cannot do it alone. I need support from all clinicians. You have traveled from far and wide. Please spread this message. Right? Second is, of course, it's a given that we need to have material vigilance program of India. But this time, if, as and when we do it, sir, whether under the aegis of Office of the DGFMS, whether in R&R or in FMC or anywhere, we must have a very solid foundation so that once we take on this, it doesn't, remain on the ventilator of one HOD pharmacology. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Colonel Praful. Your emotion shows in what you've spoken, and I mean, other than probably the laboratory, which does a regular calibration of their things, they have standards which are passed on to them, and they ensure that those standards are maintained. I am sure none of us ever calibrate our equipment. There are certain equipment which self-calibrate. There are certain equipment, for example, our laser machines, you put it on, they calibrate themselves. But other than that, these smaller devices, as you've rightly mentioned, BP apparatuses, etc., probably if you have a material vigilance or some kind of, we require technical people also, which will probably be helpful in ensuring that, our equipment are actually monitored on a regular basis. So with that, we come to the last talk. Professor Renu John has reached. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time out from IIT Hyderabad. So he's a biomedical engineer. He's a PhD from IIT Delhi, MSc Cochin University. Of course, several awards, and his areas of interest are, of course, novel non-invasive bioimaging techniques, coherence imaging, and microscopy techniques. That is very interesting for me personally. Quantitative phase microscopy, molecular contrast agents and targeted molecular imaging, and biosensing in point-of-care devices, biosignal processing, and acoustics. I'm sort of focusing on the areas of interest rather than on the awards and prizes, because that is the area where he's going to enlighten us. So without much ado, Professor Renu John, the stage is yours.
A very good morning, good afternoon to all of you. I'm exceptionally thankful to the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity. Today, I thought I would quickly present where we are in terms of technology adoptions, specifically in terms of biomedical technologies as it gets adopted to the bedside. The regulatory frameworks, the changes in the regulatory framework as we have progressed over the last 10 years, and some of the perspectives in this area. So if you look at the medical device market in the country, so I think the last day you might have had a bigger overview of how technology has been adopted, what are the different new technologies in medical devices. So we are looking at an import-driven market of 70 to 80%, which is almost like a huge import market, and the projections where the Indian medical device market is growing, where it is growing. So it's sort of like it's one of the most attractive markets that we are really looking at, and the government policies. I would say, like in the last 10 years, we have witnessed a number of incentives, public procurement orders, production-linked incentives, 100% FDI, and also you have all of us have witnessed the startup India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and the all where the startups are getting promoted. We do have a open corridor towards investments in medical devices. So I'm thinking all of this are going to be favorable for the medical device market in the country. And even if we look at every area, including surgery, telemedicine, or electronic health records, adult geriatric care, there's a huge market which India is projecting in the next decade ahead. Looking at the startups alone, probably India is the one among the top 5 Asian markets or top 3 Asian markets, and probably one among the 20 markets all over the world, global markets. So one of the ecosystem where startup has been promoted so heavily. A large number of unicorns coming up from the Indian market now. It's very promising to look at medical devices from all these perspectives. So I would just don't go too much emphasizing on this ecosystem. We also need to look at how the startups are evolving. So there's a huge number of startups already coming up in this area, and also we need to figure out how the startups are surviving over a longer period of time. But as of now, I think things are promising as far as the startup medical device ecosystem is concerned. India is one of the 3 or the 3rd biggest startup ecosystem. Now, coming to the life cycle of devices or medical devices. So this is again a very broad spectrum. So we classify medical devices from technology readiness level, TRLs. So if you look at devices market, we have something like medical devices domestic manufacture market, which is the Make in India market. And also we would look at incremental innovations, and some of them called under the pet name of reverse engineered product, and with still some amount of IP is being held in this area. And much more broader ecosystem is what we call as an innovation market, which is medical device innovation.